The PyeongChang Global Peace Forum was held on February 9th to mark the first anniversary of the PyeongChang Winter Olympics and the Paralympics. The forum was held to discuss ways to pass on the spirit of peace that began at the PyeongChang Olympics and to contribute to peace on the Korean Peninsula and in the world. The opening ceremony was attended by many ordinary citizens and world-renowned peace activists, as well as Korean public figures, including the National Assembly Speaker and government ministers.
2018 평창 동계 올림픽은 한반도 평화의 문을 활짝 열어젖히는 신호탄이었다고 생각합니다.
전쟁 위기가 사라졌고 남북 관계가 복원되었으며 비핵화 협상도 재개되었습니다.
이렇듯 평창은 한반도 평화를 선도하는 평화의 상징으로 발돋움하고 있습니다.
In particular, the former president of Poland and 1983 Nobel Peace Prize winner Lech Wałęsa attended as a special speaker. Roughly 500 people from some 200 organizations in 50 different countries all came together in one place. They exchanged views on various topics, including poverty, sustainable development goals, and human rights, under the slogan, "Creating Peace with the World in PyeongChang." The participants adopted the 2019 PyeongChang Peace Declaration, which called for full recognition and implementation of the right to peace. They also adopted a framework of the PyeongChang Agenda for Peace 2030, which includes 5 global action proposals and 50 implementation tasks. The plan is to come up with an official agenda through follow-up discussions and adopt it at next year's forum. We hope that the peace movement on the Korean Peninsula, which started in PyeongChang, will spread beyond Asia to the rest of the world.
Very warm welcome to this roundtable, which comes after a very impressive and a very vibrant opening ceremony. We have heard some very wise words, and of course, there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of expectation. So this roundtable, in fact, is the first of a series of sessions that we are going to be having over the next 3 days. And I think what we will try and do is to set the main themes. Of course, we have a very rich panel with us. I'll be introducing them in a minute. As a moderator, let me say how delighted I am to be here. And just a few thoughts to begin with. If we look at the connection between sport and the Olympics, it's in fact a very long tradition. It goes back to ancient Greece. I think it was in 1776 that they talked about a truce. So before, during, and after the Olympics, everyone would lay down the weapons, people could come, they could take part, they could watch, be a spectator, and then go back. And this is a concept that was picked up by the United Nations in 1993 at the UN General Assembly. Now, I'm, of course, myself in sports administration for a long time, and you will all notice that each of the major sporting events, whether it is the Olympics or the Special Winter Games, they leave behind a legacy. And quite often, this legacy is defined in terms of physical infrastructure. So hotels for the people who are going to come, communication facilities, venues, stadiums. What is different about what happened here in PyeongChang last year is that it has left behind an infrastructure as its legacy, but this is an infrastructure of peace, not just of physical infrastructure. And what we are trying to do is to build on that infrastructure. I remember watching on television the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics, and I think the theme was peace in motion. So really that motion still continues today as we try to connect the dots between peace, sports, and of course sustainable development and disarmament. So we will have, as I've said, the panelists, and it's a very rich mix of panelists. First, I would like to invite Mr. Sir Miang NG. He is an IOC Executive Board member from Singapore. You have either rostrum, you have a choice. You can go either side. And if you just confine your remarks to 5 minutes. Thank you.
It is a great honor for me to address this Peace Forum on behalf of the IOC President Thomas Bach. President Bach sends his best wishes and look forward very much to know the result of this very important forum. And as we celebrate the first anniversary of the Olympic Winter Games PyeongChang 2018 today, it's timely also for us to examine the realization of peace through Olympic Games. I'm sure we all remember the incredible moment at the opening ceremony when the athletes from the NOC of the Republic of Korea and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea marched as one team under one flag. This memorable symbol demonstrated in an unforgettable way the unique power of sport and of the Olympic values to promote more peaceful societies, to open ways to dialogue, and to bring the world together in peace. This historic moment, of course, did not happen by chance. It was the result of a long process of negotiation and high-level government engagement by the IOC that began back in 2014 and continued until a few minutes before the opening ceremony itself. Leveraging sports as a force for good in the world was central to the thinking of Pierre de Coubertin when he founded the IOC 125 years ago. It is this very same conviction in the power of sport that connects the IOC's mission to the UN Peace and Sustainable Development agendas. After all, IOC and UN share the same objective of making the world a better and more peaceful place for all. When the UN General Assembly adopted the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, it was a historic moment. Never before has the international community committed to such a broad and transformative agenda for global development. It was also a historic moment for the IOC because sport was specifically highlighted as an important enabler to achieve these goals. And in particular, the realization of development for peace and its adoption of tolerance and respect, and for the empowerment of women and young people, individuals and communities, as well as for health, education, and social inclusion objectives. And as we have seen in PyeongChang, peace is an important development through sports. And we are glad to see that around the world, the sports community and international organizations and NGOs are building strong partnerships to harness sports for programs which support youth empowerment, protect refugees and vulnerable populations, fight violence against women and girls, invest in quality physical education, contribute to the prevention of non-communicable diseases, or address environmental sustainability. Perhaps the best example of how the Olympic Games promote a more peaceful world is the tradition of the Olympic peace, which Mr. Moderator, you have just mentioned. This 3,000 years old tradition revived by IOC partnership with the UN in 1993 calls for a halt of hostilities in the world during the time of the Olympic Games. This Olympic truce is a symbol of hope, which UN resolutions have recognized repeatedly since then. Ahead of the PyeongChang Games, the IOC, together with the government of South Korea, incorporated a special section in the resolution to ensure the safe passage for all participants to the Games. This resolution was supported by a record number of UN member states and adopted by consensus by the UN General Assembly in November 2017. It was one of the very key factors that made this historic moment at the opening ceremony possible. As we saw in PyeongChang, the Olympic Games have opened up new horizons in more ways than anyone could have imagined just a few months before that. Today, it is a hope that this door to a more peaceful future on the Korean Peninsula would remain open. The IOC is committed to continue supporting the ongoing political peace talks on the Korean Peninsula through sports. I trust that this one-year anniversary of the Winter Games in PyeongChang will be a reminder to all of us to keep the Olympic spirit alive long after the Olympic frame of PyeongChang 2018 has been extinguished. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ang, for talking about the unique power of sport and how we can leverage it for the common good, and also for the reassurance that the IOC will continue to promote this for peace and sustainable development. Now, events, of course, are successful to the extent to which the organizing committee gets their act together. And we are very privileged to have with us today Mr. Hee-bom Lee. He was the president of the PyeongChang Organizing Committee for the 2018 Olympic and the Paralympic Winter Games. And I think certainly due to his hard work and that of his team and colleagues, we were able to enjoy such a memorable spectacle. So I would now request you to share some of your thoughts. Thank you.
네, 여러분 반갑습니다. 오늘 2018 평창 동계올림픽 대회의 평창 평화 정신을 이어가기 위해서 평창에서 시작하는 세계 평화라는 주제로 한반도와 세계 평화의 전망과 실천 방안을 논의하는 포럼에 참여하게 돼서 대단히 기쁘게 생각합니다. 평창 동계올림픽은 유치 단계부터 힘든 과정을 겪었습니다. 평창은 2번의 실패를 넘어서 3수 만에 유치에 성공하였습니다. 저는 3번째 조직위원장으로 취임을 했습니다. 당시만 해도 과연 올림픽을 할 수 있겠는가 할 정도로 국내외 여건은 매우 복잡하고 어려웠습니다. 그러나 하나된 열정이라는 슬로건 아래 지금부터 1년 전인 2018년 2월 9일 저녁 8시에 성화를 밝힌 평창 동계올림픽은 새로운 기록을 세웠습니다. 첫째, 동계올림픽 역사상 최대인 92개국 2,920여 명의 선수가 참여했습니다. 금메달 수도 102개로서 가장 많았으며 대회 기간 중 25개의 올림픽 신기록과 3개의 세계 신기록이 쏟아졌습니다. 둘째, 고품격 문화올림픽과 ICT 올림픽을 실현하였습니다. 날마다 문화와 축제가 있는 올림픽이라는 구호 아래 평창올림픽 플라자와 강릉올림픽 파크를 중심으로 올림픽 기간 중 1200회, 패럴림픽 기간 중 800회의 문화 프로그램을 운영하였습니다. 평창올림픽에서는 세계 최초의 5G 이동통신 서비스를 비롯해서 사물 인터넷, 인공지능, 가상현실 등 첨단 과학기술의 경연장이 되었습니다. 셋째, 평창올림픽은 역대 스포츠 이벤트 중에서 가장 안전한 올림픽으로 기록을 세웠습니다. 올림픽이 개최 전까지만 해도 북한의 핵개발과 미사일 공격으로 한반도는 전쟁의 위협까지 받고 있었습니다. 그러나 올림픽 기간 중 외국인을 상대로 한 사건은 한 건도 신고되지 않았습니다. 넷째, 무엇보다도 남과 북이 함께하는 평화올림픽을 실현했습니다. 북한은 동계올림픽 역사상 가장 큰 규모인 46명의 선수와 임원, 229명의 응원단, 27명의 고위 지원단이 참가했습니다. 개회식에는 남과 북이 선수들이 한반도기를 흔들며 공동 입장하였고, 여자 아이스하키 선수들은 단일팀을 구성하여 전 세계에 평화의 메시지를 전했습니다. 올림픽이 다른 국제 경기와 차이점은 그 역사에서 찾을 수가 있습니다. 올림픽은 기원전 776년 올림피아에서 평화의 제전으로 시작되었습니다. 에케히리아는 그리스어로 무기를 내려놓는다는 뜻입니다. IOC 헌장 제1조도 올림픽의 목적은 인류 평화의 유지와 인류에게 공헌하는 데 있다고 규정하고 있습니다. 저는 위원장에 취임한 직후에 2016년 6월 스위스 로잔을 방문해서 토마스 파 IOC 위원장을 면담한 자리에서 조직위원회와 IOC는 평화올림픽을 최우선 과제로 선정하고 북한의 참가를 위해서 모든 노력을 기울이기로 합의했습니다. 2017년 9월 페루 리마에서 열리는 IOC 총회에서 IOC 위원장은 북한 선수들이 자력으로 출전 자격 확보의 기회를 놓치더라도 IOC는 국제경기연맹과 함께 북한 참가에 대한 해결책을 찾을 준비가 되어 있다고 함으로써 와일드카드를 써서라도 북한을 참가시키겠다는 의지를 분명히 했습니다. 문재인 대통령은 2017년 4월 강원도 방문 시에 북한 참가를 위한 5대 원칙을 제시하였고, 같은 해 9월 UN 총회에서 평창이 평화의 빛을 밝히는 촛불이 될 것이라며 국제사회의 평화올림픽 구상을 제시했습니다. 평창 동계올림픽 이후에 지난 1년 동안 한반도는 대격변의 시기를 겪었습니다. 4.27 판문점 선언, 9월 평양 공동선언과 6월 북미 정상회담과 같은 굵직한 성과는 불과 1년 전 오늘은 상상도 못했던 일이었습니다. 스포츠와 정치는 분리되어야 하지만 사실 스포츠와 정치 사이에는 일종의 접점이 있기 마련입니다. 1971년 핑퐁 외교를 시작으로 미국과 중국이 수교를 시작하였으며 88 서울 올림픽에서는 동서 양시정이 모두 참가함으로써 이듬해 베를린 장벽이 무너졌습니다. 남북한도 1991년 치바 세계 탁구 선수대회에서 단일팀을 구성하였고, 2000년 시드니 올림픽에서 남북 선수들이 공동 입장하면서 남북한 체육거리는 정치와 함께 부침을 거듭하였습니다. 평화와 화합을 열망하는 온 세계의 스포츠인들이 하나된 열정으로 감격의 순간을 나눈 지 벌써 1년이 지났습니다. 영하 20도의 추운 날씨에도 불구하고 올림픽에 열정적으로 참여해준 모든 선수들, 그리고 2만여 명의 자원봉사자, 1200명의 조직이 임직원들과 함께한 순간을 생각하면 지금도 가슴이 벅차오릅니다. 끝으로 2018 평창 동계올림픽 및 동계 패럴림픽 대회 성공을 위해 노력해 주신 IOC, IPC, 대한민국 정부, 최문선 지사를 비롯한 강원도민과 국민들께 이 자리를 빌어서 깊은 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much. And of course, we know that the Olympic theme is going to be in this part of the world. The Tokyo Olympics are coming up. After that, we have Beijing. And we all look forward to a very exciting possibility if that's going to happen. 2032, when there is a possibility of a joint Korean bid for the Olympics. But let me say that PyeongChang has set very high standards, and it's going to be a very tough act to follow. But I certainly hope that the theme of peace, bringing people together, and the connections with development and, of course, disarmament are going to be very strong in the Olympics that are coming up. As I've said, there's a very rich panel. We have heard from the Olympic community. We are now going to hear from, if you like, the ODA perspective, the Overseas Development Assistance perspective. And we are delighted and privileged to have with us the president of KOICA, Miang NG. She is also a former co-president of PNND, the organization I'm representing, Parliamentarians for Non-Proliferation and Nuclear Disarmament. And she was a very strong and vocal voice for peace and a nuclear weapons-free Korean Peninsula as a parliamentarian. Now, of course, she has a very important responsibility at KOICA, and it is good to see that development agencies are also looking at the nexus, the connection, the importance of sport, disarmament, and sustainable development. President Madam Lee, if I may ask you to share your thoughts. Thank you.
반갑습니다. 평창 올림픽은 역대 최대 규모 동계 올림픽이고 평화 올림픽이라는 점에서 독보적이었습니다. 우리가 오늘 이 자리에 모인 것은 평창 평화 정신을 되살려 한반도 평화, 나아가 세계 평화를 어떻게 만들어갈 것인지 논의하기 위해서입니다. 저는 지난달 1월 로힝야 난민들이 머물고 있는 방글라데시 콕스 바자르를 방문했습니다. 그곳에서 평화가 사라진 삶이 얼마나 황폐한 것인가 몸소 느끼고 돌아왔습니다. 인구 12만 명이 살던 조용한 해안도시 콕스 바자르는 로힝야 난민 100만 명이 넘어와서 지금은 세계 최대 규모 난민 캠프가 되었습니다. 매일 출생신고도 못하는 아이들이 100명씩 태어나고 있고 폭우가 오면 언제든 무너질 것 같은 언덕 판잣집에서 굶주리고 있고 교육받지 못하고 있고 그마저도 언제 쫓겨날지 모르는 불안한 삶을 살고 있었습니다. 평화가 없으면 인권도 없다는 단순하지만은 명백한 진실을 로힝야 난민 캠프는 웅변하고 있었습니다. 냉전 시대에는 평화를 원하면 전쟁에 대비하라는 말이 통용되었습니다. 지금은 21세기입니다. 평화를 원하면 평화를 건설하러가 되어야 합니다. 이제는 그렇게 할 수 있습니다. 2019년 평창 평화포럼이 갖는 의미는 바로 이 때문입니다. 지난번 평창에서 만들어진 평화의 물꼬가 평화의 시대로 가는 물줄기가 되도록 할 수 있습니다. 권력으로부터 소외되고 사법정의에서 배제되며 사회적 자원 분배에서 불평등을 느낄 때 분쟁이 촉발되고 폭력이 분출했습니다. 그래서 폭력과 갈등의 구조적 원인을 해소하고 분쟁을 예방함으로써 평화를 구축해가는 적극적인 노력이 필요합니다. 코이카가 이행 중인 개발 협력 사업을 통해 평화 구축의 실제 사례를 들어보겠습니다. 중동 국가 예멘의 불안정 때문에 최근 한국 제주도의 난민 신청이 폭증한 것에서 보듯이 지구상 어느 곳의 분쟁은 더 이상 남의 일이라고 보기가 어렵게 되었습니다. 그래서 코이카는 난민 문제 대처를 통해 뿌리 뽑힌 사람들이 재정착해서 일상으로 돌아가도록 돕고 있습니다. 코이카는 지난 5년간 난민에 대한 지원을 15배 확대했고 유엔 난민기구에 2천만 달러 이상을 지원하는 2천만 불 공여국 클럽에 포함되었습니다. 존경하는 여러분, 문재인 대통령은 지난해 9월 유엔 연설에서 누구도 소외받지 않는 국제 환경을 만들기 위해 인도적 위기의 근본적 해결을 위해서는 평화, 개발, 인권을 아우르는 총체적 접근이 필요하다고 말씀하셨습니다. 평화, 개발, 인권은 삼각대와 같아서 한 축이 무너지면 제대로 서 있을 수 없습니다. 제가 코이카 이사장으로 취임하면서부터 성평등과 민주주의, 인권, 평화를 강조한 것도 같은 이유입니다. 코이카는 개발도상국을 대상으로 시행하는 모든 개발 원조 사업에 이런 요소들이 반영되도록 독려하고 있습니다. 코이카가 지난해부터 강조하고 있는 3P, 즉 People, Peace, Prosperity는 이 지향점에도 이런 정신이 녹아 있습니다. 올해부터는 플래닛이라는 네 번째 P도 추가했습니다. 플래닛은 지구를 뜻하면서 환경 문제를 뜻하기도 합니다. 평화는 특별한 사람들이 만드는 게 아닙니다. 모두가 참여하지 않고서는 만들어지지 않는 게 평화입니다. 이번 평창 포럼에서 정부, 의회, NGO, 종교 등 다양한 참석자들이 모인 것도 누구나 참여하는 평화 논의가 이루어지기를 희망하기 때문입니다. 동계올림픽과 패럴림픽이라는 스포츠 행사가 한반도 평화에 가져온 효과를 한번 보십시오. 이처럼 스포츠가 평화에 기여하듯이 모든 분야는 평화를 위한 역할이 있습니다. 코이카는 각 분야 참여자들과 모든 이슈에서 평화, 인권 개발이 함께하도록 만들어갈 것입니다. 저는 방글라데시 로힝야 캠프를 방문하면서 법륜 스님이 이끄는 한국 JTS, UN 구호기구, WFP와 함께 가스버너 10만 개를 전달했습니다. 가스버너는 단순한 조리 도구가 아니라 난민들의 고통을 함께 나누려는 한국 사람들의 마음이자 미래를 향해 함께 만드는 희망의 불꽃이라고 생각합니다. 이처럼 평창평화포럼 논의도 미래를 향한 불꽃이 되기를 기원합니다. 그래서 한반도의 평화가 동북아로, 동북아의 평화가 세계로 뻗어가는 나비 효과를 기대합니다. 이번 포럼에서 발표될 평창평화의제 2030 프레임워크가 행동으로 옮겨가는 과정이 한반도와 동북아, 전 세계 평화를 공고히 하는 새로운 역사가 되기를 기원합니다. 그 과정에서 북한의 개발 협력도 성사되기를 바랍니다. 한반도의 평화가 성숙되고 여건이 조성되면 코이카도 북한의 개발 협력에 적극 동참하게 될 것입니다. 그날이 오기를 기다리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you so very much, Madam Lee. You mentioned about the 4 Ps. 3 you already have, people, peace, prosperity. The 4th P is a planet that has now been added. If I may say, there is also a 5th P, which is partnership. And we here, whether we are from the civil society organization, parliamentarians, think tanks, NGOs, human rights activities, we certainly look forward to partnering with KOICA in taking forward this very important agenda. Thank you for your wonderful leadership and the great work that you do. We will now move on and we will hear from 2 very distinguished, if I may say, advocates of peace who have been working for a long time. We have Lisa Clark. She is the current co-president, International Peace Bureau, one of the oldest NGOs. And of course, they've been working for peace for a very long time. In fact, the organization of IPU and the International Peace Bureau started their journey at around the same time. Lisa, it's wonderful to have you here, and we look forward to hearing from you.
I would like, of course, to thank the national ministries and the local government institutions, especially some that I have met yesterday and today, and of course, all the non-governmental organizations for making this forum possible. I'm here, as Saber was saying, as co-president of the International Peace Bureau, founded in the 1890s to provide a coordinating secretariat among the different peace societies that were developing in several countries. There were, in fact, many societies striving for peace and justice, but there was a need for them to be able to reflect and to work together. In 1910, the IPB was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition for this networking activity. And that's also the reason that we are all here today. Building bridges is what we're doing, which, as you all know, is the opposite of building walls, which seems to be quite a fashionable thing to do these days. Nowadays, the IPB concentrates its energies on disarmament in all of its aspects. A peace education perspective showing that weapons and militarization are the cause of increased violence and injustice in the world, and not the solution. As Malala Yousafzai told us, when she was only 16 too, with weapons you can eliminate a terrorist or two terrorists, but it is only with education that you can eliminate terrorism. Over the years, nonviolent peace activists have elaborated the notion of human security. We contribute to this by researching into the costs of weapons and wars, while highlighting what else such enormous funds could better be spent on, those human needs that are increasingly being neglected, and in many of the richest countries of the world, where they are considered too expensive. Every year, around the publication date of CIPRI's report on military spending, we coordinate a vast web of actions under the Global Days of Action on Military Spending campaign. In 2017, the world's nations spent $1,739 billion on weapons and the military. Just 6% of that figure would be enough to meet the needs of countries in the south of the world in addressing and mitigating climate change, the SDG 13. And just 3.2%, i.e. 54 billion, would be enough to cover SDG 3, achieving universal primary and lower secondary education. So the world has got its priorities wrong somehow. But these are just some examples. And I'd like to stress that it's not only a matter of money. The overwhelming power of the military in some countries suggests to young people as they are brought up that might means right. And this is devastating for the world and for the building of peace in the world. Building a future world of peace, of human rights, and mutually enriching coexistence is the goal we strive towards. Along the way, we have already promoted many international legal instruments banning the most hideous of weapons, landmines, cluster munitions, chemical and biological weapons, and prohibiting nuclear weapons in more than half of the planet. We are one of ICANN's international partners and fully embraced the idea of achieving a ban on nuclear weapons by stressing the catastrophic consequences to humans of those weapons. This is what we mean by human security. It's the only kind that counts. We rejoiced when the campaign deservedly was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2017, especially since the Norwegian Nobel Committee actually motivated the prize using the same value categories we have always upheld, praising the civil society-led process that ICANN adopted to achieve its success, echoing the words "we the peoples" from the UN Charter, stressing the paramount importance of a legal instrument banning even the possession of nuclear weapons. The UN asked for negotiations aimed at preventing their use in its very first resolution in January 1946. So this is something the UN has been after for a very long time in its entire history. And steering a process within the United Nations to draft and approve the ban treaty that restored, albeit only temporarily, some of the missing democracy from that august body. Here, in the Korean Peninsula, I am in great admiration of your peace process, which is inspired by the Sunshine Policy. How absolutely wonderful that a 20th century Asian president adopts a policy based on a 6th century BC Greek storyteller. It makes my networking efforts look quite paltry. But it's also inspired by the Candlelight Revolution, by last year's Olympic diplomacy, by the Panmunjom Declaration. I am sure that European and international movements could willingly become active partners. For remember, the embrace of international civil society can offer strong support I believe that the best thing we can all do for peace in the world right now is to support the people-driven peace process in the Korean Peninsula, promoting a treaty to end the Korean War finally, demanding that governments implement the conditions they have already agreed to, so as to open the path towards the construction of a true positive peace, one established through comprehensive regional cooperation in all fields, where loyal collaboration in social, economic, cultural, and humanitarian sectors will make the establishment of the Northeast Asia nuclear weapon-free zone seem merely like the logical extension of all that we're doing already. Your successes in this region will allow us in other continents to take giant strides forward on the road to peace. Let me thank you in advance and congratulate you on your successful peace process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move to the last of our panelists today. Mr. Tatsuya Yoshioka has spent almost a life, over 30 years. He has been working as an activist to promote peace. He is representing here ICANN, which has been recognized with the Nobel Peace Prize. And of course, his Peace Boat initiative has caught the imagination of people around the world. Over this period, he has visited over 100 ports in 80 countries with the boat. So please tell us more about your work and also how we can take forward the spirit of PyeongChang.
Thank you very much. 안녕하십니까? Good afternoon. I'm so impressed that all of the panelists' presentation and the speech, and but at the same time, I'm so emotional. I'm being in this PyeongChang, and because this place is now the very symbolic place for the peace. I really believe so. And now that the peace process is ongoing. PyeongChang Olympics changed the completely direction of the peace in Asia. Also, that is related with the peace in the world. And that is one of the key elements was sports. As the chairman said, that I was working for 35 years, the so-called peace boat, and this is peace cruise activities. And we have visited more than 100 countries, and now the number 100 cruise is sailing in the world. This is actually the world cruise. I think welcome all of you to join to create a peace with us. But through that experience, I learned sometimes politics make a war, or business make a war. But the sports and the culture has the power to change that direction from war to the peace. I never forget the ice hockey game. It's the North and South Korean people together and fight against. There's a very, very strong team. And again, try and try. I think that scenery or that game is making a huge impact to the people's mind. I think together, today, actually, Peace Board is a member of the ICANN, International Abolition of the Nuclear Weapon. And I really would like to share with you the importance of the nuclear weapon ban treaty now. And this organization, ICANN, International Campaign for Abolition of the International Campaign for Abolition of Nuclear Weapon, why received the Nobel Peace Prize is because Korean Peninsula nuclear weapon crisis. Because in the United States and North Korea just start to scream each other to escalate about that nuclear war here. I come from Japan. I know Hiroshima, Nagasaki. What's happened there? I talked with many survivors. Their experience is hell. But do you know, during the Korean War, seriously, the General MacArthur requested to drop the nuclear bomb in the Korean Peninsula. I'm really feared. I really worry about that. So I think that is also worldwide, including the Nobel Peace Committee in Norway, Oslo. They also understand that they have to do something. That's why we received Nobel Peace Prize. And it means now Korean Peninsula is a key country and a key place to abolish the nuclear weapon from the world. And from Korea, it can be possible because then now everybody in the world is watching what's going on, this peace process. And PyeongChang is a starting point of this peace process. And we are really would like to work together, this real peaceful world. And of course, we don't need nuclear weapon in the peaceful world. And that peaceful world should be sustainable, have to respect the human rights, gender equality, and also environmental issues. I hope this peace forum, Global Peace Forum, can be the starting point of the really strong people's movement toward a world peace and also sustainable world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for that very passionate presentation. Now, as I mentioned to you, ladies and gentlemen, we will have some questions and answers. But if I may just recap, I think two of the most important points that have come out of the discussions from the panelists. One is that the link, the nexus, the connection between sport on the one hand and peace and development, disarmament is a very strong one. I think all of the panelists have said that. And this is, of course, a formula that we need to take forward in the spirit of PyeongChang and the peace spirit that it has resulted in. The second important point, which all of the panelists have mentioned, is that when we are talking about peace, there are no physical borders. Peace is a global issue. So it is as relevant in the Korean Peninsula as it is with the Rohingyas in Bangladesh or a refugee in a camp in Palestine. This is a global pursuit. And what we are talking about is how we can take this process forward. It's okay to have celebrations, rightly so, because this was a unique event. But now we have to look forward. So what is that roadmap in terms of moving forward? What can we do to make the spirit of peace that has come out very eloquent in our discussions also? And as Madam Lee mentioned, this should be a flame of prosperity for the future. So how can we do that? We don't have a lot of time, but as I promised, we will take some questions from the floor. I think there should be microphones. So if you raise your hand, one of the volunteers will get a microphone to you so that we can quickly get through a Q&A session. Anyone wish to ask a question? Yes, sir. Can someone please get a microphone? If you would like to introduce yourself, and if the question is for a particular member of the panel, if you would identify, please.
My name is Andrew Koo. I come from Malaysia, where recently Malaysia was disqualified from holding an international swimming meet because we refused to let in a delegation from Israel. Politics, it said, should not mix with sports. But if politics doesn't influence sports, would the panel agree with me that the spirit of sports should influence politics? Thank you.
기본적으로 스포츠는 스포츠고 정치는 정치입니다. 그러나 스포츠와 정치가 다 같이 사람들이 하는 것이기 때문에 영향을 받지 않을 수가 없다고 생각합니다. 그래서 IOC 토마스 바하 IOC 위원장도 스포츠와 정치에는 키싱 포인트가 있다고 얘기를 했습니다. 한반도의 남북관계 문제도 정치의 부침에 따라서 남북관계의 단일팀이라든가 공동 입장이라든가 이런 것도 바뀌어왔던 히스토리를 제가 아까 열거한 바가 있습니다. 이런 스포츠와 정치는 기본적으로는 다르지만은 사람이 하는 것이기 때문에 불가분의 관계가 있다라는 점을 말씀드리고 싶습니다.
Thank you. We have time for two quick questions. If anyone? Yes, the lady there. Just introduce yourself briefly, madam. And
hi, good afternoon. My name is Mavic Cabrera Baleza from the Global Network of Women Peace Builders. First, congratulations to the organization of the panel. We see not only balance in terms of representation of different types of organizations, but also, very importantly, gender balance. I would like to ask our panelists, what is your ambition in terms of seeing women as central to our collective action in advocating for peace, especially sustainable peace and sustainable development? Thank you.
thank you.
이 평화를 만들어가는 이 과정이라는 것은 사실은 기존의 기득권과 기존의 생각들, 기존에 중요하게 생각했던 가치들 이런 것들을 많이 바꾸는 것입니다. 예를 든다면 에너지에 있어서도 우리가 보다 지속 가능한 에너지를 사용해야 된다. 그리고 인권에 있어서 여성까지 포함한 정말 많은 인권의 문제가 이루어져야지 되는 것이고 이러한 새로운 가치, 새로운 세상을 만들어가는 것이 평화를 만들어가는 과정이라고 생각할 때 그것을 잘 할 수 있는 사람, 저는 여성이라고 생각하고 여성에서 힘이 나온다라고 생각합니다. 그렇다 해서 물론 남성은 아무 일도 하지 말라는 뜻이 아닙니다. 남성과 함께 해야죠. 약간 얘기가 길어집니다만은 저는 평화가 잃어버린 상태에서 가장 피해 입는 사람이 여성입니다. 그러나 그 여성들이 피해자로서만 머무는 것이 아니고 그 피해를 넘어서서 평화를 만들어가는 그러한 사람으로 변화해 나갈 수 있도록 모든 여성들이 연대해 나가고 또 남성들이 함께 지원해 나가는 것 이런 등등입니다.
Thank you. There was another lady behind.
Hi, my name is Grace. I was formerly with the U.S. Department of State. Thank you for this really lovely conversation and just really important topics discussed here. I'm wondering, with increased reluctance to use nuclear energy, there's more optimism for the energy innovation sectors and business opportunities there. So there needs to be a multilateral approach along with the trust with partnerships with the private sector. I was wondering, in terms of a balanced nuclear and biochemical approach, is there a conversation and an effort to do that for this forum? And can this set an example for a regional approach? Thank you.
Okay. Tatsuya, would you like to talk about the energy mix, the question on energy mix?
Yeah, that's quite a difficult question for me, and also a little bit, frustrated, because that we had a terrible experience 2011 in Fukushima. Maybe all of you know about that, what's happened in the nuclear power plants in Japan. And I think that is a quite serious situation still ongoing. And quite a lot of the kids has a thyroid cancer. And, but it is really the local government and so on doesn't want to reveal about the truth or true numbers of these children. The reason why is that they really would like to hide about what's happened and what's going on in the nuclear power plant's accident in Fukushima. I think that the energy mix is a kind of the rhetoric, I think. I think now we really have to seriously research and study and investigate what's happened in Fukushima. And I'm not talking about only for Japanese people. I mean for all over the world people, to survive for the future, I think we have to really assess about the nuclear energy. Thank you.
Lisa, would you like to come very quickly on that?
Yes, I'd like to say something to the question, to Mavik's question about women. Women are not just central to our peace action, they are more effective. There have been studies done that have proved that peace processes, when they are negotiated by women as protagonists, have a much higher chance of lasting. Because that's how the women work on this, because their goal is to protect the community that they are part of. I have lived in war zones. I'm old, but I did this several years ago. For example, in Bosnia, for example, in Israel, Palestine, and so on. And I have seen that in all these different cultures, the women, their way of resisting violence, of resisting against violence and war, is to take care and shelter the youngest generation, not necessarily their own children, but the children, so that the community can still be there. We often talked about reconstruction after war. Well, if there's ever anything to reconstruct after a devastating war, that's only thanks to the work of women during the war.
Thank you, Lisa, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we will have to wrap up this session. I think this first roundtable session has really set the scene for the discussion in the next 2 days in terms of how we move forward. I think that is the most important question that we have ahead of us. How do we build on the legacy? How do we generate more momentum to take this process forward? I think these are very important questions. And I'm sure what we would all like are not just declarations, nice words and platitudes, but actually a plan of action, which we can also measure in terms of the impact it has had when we meet in the subsequent sessions. A round of applause, please, for the panelists. I think they have been wonderful. And I think you can certainly give a round of applause for yourself for being such good listeners. Thank you very much. That concludes the roundtable session, and I hope that we can really go back and the flame of peace and prosperity and the centrality of people. I think this is something that we take back home, and we all commit, we all pledge to take this very important agenda forward, not just for us, but for the child that is going to be born tomorrow and the day after. This is what we owe to them, and I'm sure that we will be in the right track. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.